Why do people finance or lease a brand new car instead of paying cash for a slightly used car? So the main reason that I can think of is when it comes specifically to Japanese brands that are reliable and safe and offer a lot, such as Honda, Toyota, Lexus, Acura. I think Acura's in there as well, right? Like those four, which is basically two, right? Honda and Toyota. People buy these cars brand new because of obviously the reliability. They hold their value very well. They have a high resale value because of how reliable the cars are and how long they last. So people buy these brand new cars, they finance these brand new cars. If you're gonna buy a car brand new, at the absolute worst case scenario, what you should ideally do is pay for it in cash. The fact of the matter is the average person is not capable to perform interest rate arbitrage when they're paying interest. You're paying interest out, you want to be earning interest or some sort of return in to kind of cover that spread with the money that you're not putting down as cash, right? So what I mean by that is, let's say you're paying like 5% interest on your car loan. If you're paying 5% interest on your car loan and you're paying, monthly payments of like $500 a month or whatever it is, you're not putting the rest of that balance of it, say it's like a, $35,000 car, but you're not paying that lump sum amount to pay off the car. Different people have different mindsets when it comes to that. I guess a lot of people think the payment's minimal, I can afford it, so let me just, pay $500 a month instead of paying all that money cash. And you're just basically borrowing money at a high interest rate on a depreciating asset. What the wealthy do is, if you're gonna do that, ideally you have a lot of cash, you can easily afford to pay the car off in full, but you don't want to. You're gonna use leverage, and you're paying that $500 a month, and you're paying 5% interest throughout the term of the loan. But you go and say you invest in the stock market or private lending or some other investment vehicle where you can get a higher rate of return than 5%. And that spread is your profit on that money that you would have basically put in. If you can get 8% on your investment and you're paying 5% interest, then it makes sense to not pay that car off in cash, right? If you can get 8%, 10%, anything more, right, on that 5%. If you're putting your money in a GIC and getting 2% while you're paying 5% interest, you might as well, you have to pay off that car loan as soon as possible. You're just basically giving away interest for the ability to have a cheap, low car payment. And that's how dealerships make money. They don't make money on the spread of, buying and selling the car. They make the money on the financing side. So basically the average person should either pay cash for the car, and most people, they finance a car that they can't afford because they're like, well, I can afford it because I can afford the payment. Well, if you can't even afford to pay the car in cash, even half of the car in cash, then you can't afford the car. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Like, I'm only making this video because I fell for this same trap as well. My car payment is around 10% of my monthly take-home pay, and you shouldn't go above 10%. Having a good mechanic can save you a lot of money that you trust and that you know very well that's available, that's offers you good rates or whatever it is throughout the life of the car. Like, that is actually such an asset when it comes to personal finance, because now you can buy a used car for cash, finance it, and pay it off within a year and pay minimal interest. If anything goes wrong, you have your trusted mechanic. Versus the rest of the population who doesn't have that, they're going and buying a brand new Japanese car because it's going to hold its value. Very minimal things will go wrong with it, and if it does, in the first 5 years they have warranty. And now leasing is a whole different thing. I'm just talking about financing in this situation. What are you doing with that lump sum that you could have put down in cash to avoid paying interest? Most people, especially where I am, can't afford a house and they have a car payment like that. It all goes back to, you need to be investing in the stock market, and you need to get educated and learn the safe and simple way of index investing. You don't really have to know too much about it, right? You just have to have the confidence and understanding of how things work. If you're able to do that and you're financing your car, well, you're getting 8 to 10% a year for the rest of your life based on the last 50 years of what's happened. You're paying, 5% interest. It's not ideal, obviously, because there's going to be down years and all that while you're paying 5% interest on your car that you can't afford. There's a trade-off there, right? Most people are not doing that, so you're just giving away interest to pay this car. But ideally, if you don't have the cash, you should at least be able to pay off the entire car in 1 or 2 years. Otherwise, you can't afford it. Don't buy the car. That's not the car for you. Save up a lot of money and then buy it, because you're just hurting your ability to save. You're just paying interest for no reason. But yeah, if I had to do it all over again, even knowing what I know about the stock market, I would want to, at least worst case scenario, pay off the car in a year. Or if you personally know how to repair anything that goes wrong with a car and, buy cheap parts and install the parts yourself, for 99% of the population, you're buying the new car and financing it for no reason. I'm talking about Japanese cars, right? When you're going to financing a non-Japanese car, less reliable car that the average person does not know how to maintain a car. Like, I understand the thing that you all know, depreciation, you drive it off the lot, and then, the first few years you lose like 60% of the value of the car. You're financing and then you're losing the value of the car. If you're keeping that car forever and just driving it into the ground, then I guess, then you finance it. But right, if you buy it and then suddenly at some point you're like, oh, actually, you know what, I want a new car again. That's how people get into trouble. So yeah, just wanted to talk about cars because that's a big part of personal finance. At the end of the day, it's peace of mind for a lot of people. See you guys in the next one.